Well, here we are. It's time to create the official Punpun tier list. I've seen some other people make these online, and honestly, I've never seen a worse collection of opinions in my life. I saw somebody actually rate Butt Hamburger as S tier, and then they just like snicker the whole time, like, tee hee, isn't that funny? No, it's not funny. You're a fucking idiot. So, fuck that guy. Fuck Seki fans. I don't know why people think Seki is S tier. Seki's just basically Pun Pun, except you get to see what his face is. Like, they're both just stupid characters. Anyway, let's get into it. I'm pretty sure the first character here is Aiko. I don't... I mean, right? It's gotta be Aiko, Pun Pun, and Sachi. They're like the three main characters. Fucking stupid love triangle bullshit. Aiko is an ironic S tier. Why is Aiko ironic S tier? One, she knows how to dress up for hot dates, get in that sexy underwear. Definitely a woman who is S tier. But also, first time having sex, she says, just come inside me. And then when Pun Pun doesn't, she calls him a coward. Absolutely fucking based. Anything else that she does doesn't even matter. Absolutely based S tier woman. Okay, here we go. Pun Pun. Oh, it's really, honestly, I'm gonna have to come back to Pun Pun. I don't know how to rate him. He's pretty fucking garbage. Let's move on to his family. Pun Pun's mom. Pun Pun's mom is like, I don't even know how I'm rating these characters. I guess in terms of like their meaningful impact on the plot, I would rate Pun Pun's mom as A tier. I think she's pretty fucking good in terms of like their effect on the plot and how much I like them. She's like a character who's, I don't mind reading her chapters when she has, intersections in them. Pun Pun's dad's pretty terrible. He just is really fucking stupid. But he's Pun Pun's dad. So I honestly, I think I'd rate him at C. He just, like, doesn't contribute to the story. He, like, just disappears. He doesn't really give a shit about Pun Pun, but he pretends that he does. But he did stop Pun Pun's mom from killing Pun Pun, so I guess that kind of is important. But, anyway. Oh, here we go. Yuichi. Yuichi is an easy S tier character. Definitely more S tier than fucking Aiko. He's an interesting character. I actually like his chapters way more than fucking Pun Pun's chapters, which the manga is about Pun Pun. I was really pissed that Yuichi had his character arc fucking off screen. That was fucking stupid. So, yeah, he's definitely an S tier character. Really, really interesting to read about. Real cool, has a lot of like internal conflict, wants to commit seppuku because of some past bad things that he did. But his story is one about like redemption and kind of one of the things that sucks about Goodnight Punpun is there's no catharsis for any of the characters, and there's no like getting over the trauma. They just like literally stay eternally traumatized, and at any moment, if anything gets any worse, they it seems like they would just kill themselves, which is not true for how most humans act. Actually, the further past an event is, like temporally, the less likely one is about to do something negative about that event. That's just like objectively fucking speaking. So Inio Asano doesn't understand humans, as most mangakas don't, because they're fucking stupid. Anyway, a school teacher character. This guy has one funny moment, and then he just disappears into the background. I guess I'll give him that. He's drawn pretty funny, so I'll give him that. I think this is Midori. I don't know why they chose a picture where the character's looking down. They look like Michael Jackson. I'm pretty sure this is Midori. But I can't... Yeah, this has got to be Midori. Midori is, like, actually S tier as well. She's a very loving person. She's also a rapist. But she's a very loving person. She's, like, the one person who actually tries to push Pun Pun in a good direction. And like, it's you can't say that anyone ever rapes anybody out of love, but like, it's that's another gray area in the manga too. I feel like, given Pun Pun's just interest in like just wanting to have sex, I feel like he should have been more down with it, because Punpun's not shown to be a moral character. So why is he so reluctant to have sex with Midori? Like, it seems odd. I mean, she's older, but I don't know. The manga just didn't really justify Punpun's lack of interest in having sex with her, or his frustrations with being raped by her, despite so much of the preamble to that event being Punpun's just baseless interest in sex, and just like almost like not caring who it was, but like I think deep down caring that he wanted to be with Aiko, even though he hadn't talked to her in like fucking 5 years, like a fucking idiot. Well, not really 5 years, but it was a while. So, but I would say Midori's S tier. She is the one of the few sane, other than raping Punpun. She's like one of the few sane characters who like fixes Yuichi, and is a bit crazy, but not like a fucking nut job. I think this is Butt Hamburger. Well, whoever this character is. Oh wait, no. Who is this? The girlfriend? No, the girlfriend for. Yeah, that's her. This character is F tier. I don't know who this character is. F tier. I don't know who this character is. F tier. This is Harumi. This character also. This is last place F tier. If you're gone for 99% of the manga and you show up in the last panel to give the fucking epilogue, or like the thematic epilogue, fuck off. F tier. Go back to writing school. Don't introduce a character who hasn't had any impact in the plot. And like, fuck off. Shizuzubu. I mean, this character is only good for poop god memes and his leaky nose and the fact that he like seems like he's like functionally developmentally disabled. So I'd put him at B tier. Seki, I really hate Seki. Seki's the only character who's worse than Punpun, because Seki had an even better life than Punpun, but he still has like the biggest chip on his shoulder. So I guess I put him at second to last. Seki's chapter, actually, you know what? No, Seki's F absolute. Wait, why isn't there an F tier? What the fuck? There's only D, whatever. These numbers are wrong. This should be F. Oh no, now it's like lowercase F. This is like D, and then there's like, and then that. There's no C. C doesn't get anything. So anyway, yeah, Seki's fucking last place. His chapters are awful. They're absolutely absurdly stupid, and they're almost as absurdly stupid as the Good Vibrations, but the Good Vibrations are just really fucking dumb. I don't even remember who this character is. I think he's one of Punpun's childhood friends. So I would probably rate him at B tier, because they were kind of funny when they were kids, I guess. And they were like, they kind of need to exist. So I put him there. Wait, that's not Harumi. This is Harumi. Who is this guy? Are these both Harumi? Do they have two Harumi? I don't. This is Harumi. This is Harumi. I don't know. I don't remember who that character is then. Harumi is second to last place, as for the aforementioned reasons. This is Pussy Lips. She's also F tier, but she's like somewhere down here. Yep, she's F tier. This guy is Punpun's coworker, I believe. He's not like, oh no, Punpun's coworker is over here. Who's this guy? Oh no, this is Punpun's like gay lover. I thought Punpun was gonna be gay. There should have been some bisexuality, because Punpun really came off as kind of gay when he was developing that relationship with that one guy. I think that's who this is. So this guy's pretty good. I put this guy at A tier. The guy who Punpun like bets that game with Aiko with or whatever. I liked him a lot. He was pretty cool. This character, fucking F tier. Fat Connie, I mean, she really just exists to like have Sachi bounce philosophical ramblings off of, and like expose, like baits Sachi into saying exposition basically for the plot. So, but I would say she's A tier just because she's not annoying and she's like pretty realistic about herself. This character's design, Twin Tails, automatically S tier, doesn't matter her behavior. She's a little needy. That's kind of cool. That's kind of hot. This guy's kind of dumb, honestly, but I'd put him at A tier just because he's not a hindrance to the plot. This guy's absolutely fucking bottom of the barrel F tier. Good Vibrations Man is absolutely dog shit. This guy's a little interesting, actually. I guess I should keep talking about Good Vibrations Man. Good Vibrations Man is absolutely fucking F tier. Every single chapter with the fucking Pegasus Club is just so fucking stupid, such a waste of fucking time. You could honestly, if I knew how to edit better and I wasn't lazy, I would go through and I would edit out all the fluff out of Goodnight Punpun, and you would probably have a much better manga. And I would also rewrite a lot of the final arc, well, the final act, I guess. It's not really even an arc. None of the characters have arcs in the story either, which is really frustrating, except for Sachi, because Sachi goes on her own journey, motivated by her personal desire for change, and changes, unlike all the other characters who are essentially losers, or they have their arcs off screen. And the reason they have their arcs off screen is because Inio Asano can't write, so he just has them happen off screen, so good job. But Good Vibrations, man, is absolutely fucking F tier. He's an effeminate weirdo that nobody would follow this guy in real life. Like, nobody follows a guy who, like, twinges their legs together, like they have to hold in a huge piss shit. And he constantly talks about, like, loving and everything, but he's, like, breaking into people's homes and, like, hitting them with hammers. Like, it's stupid. This guy, the fact that he's, like, kind of conning Good Vibrations, man, Pegasus, into, like, doing shit. I don't remember this guy's name. That's pretty interesting, but this guy's also a loser. So he's going in this is like the loser bracket where they're interesting for the story, but they're losers. And these people are just like losers who are not interested in the story. And these people are just like actively take away from the plot and are fucking annoying. Fuck all these characters. I think this is Butt Hamburger, but no, this is Butt Hamburger. Who's this character? Oh, this is the girl that Punpun tries to rape, I'm pretty sure. This character is pretty cool. I liked her. Except she does forgive Punpun for attempting to rape her, so she's a loser, I guess. Don't forget, that's just fucked up. She's like, this character is men writing women tier, because Punpun tries to rape her, and then she's like, oh, Punpun, he was a pretty nice guy. Like, what the fuck? Butt Hamburger, F tier. I think this character is this is Sachi's ex-husband. This character is F tier, only exists to create another love triangle that didn't need one. Aiko's mom. Aiko's mom is also F tier just because she's written so badly. The problem with this manga is there's just too many F tier characters. Landlord is fucking S tier. Might be the highest S tier. Get out of the way, Yuichi. I can't move him over. Yeah. No, Yuichi is higher than Aiko for sure. Midori might be higher than Aiko. Yeah, Aiko is last in the S tier because she's stupid, but at least she wants guys to come inside of her, which is absolutely based. This character doesn't really do a whole lot, but she has twin tails, so that's S tier. And she's not totally retarded. Actually, these two are pretty equally stupid, I have to be honest. But like, she's more honest with her feelings. Anyone who's not honest with their feelings, they get like way lower points for me. Landlord character is based as fuck though. Landlord character is always trying to help out Punpun, always trying to give him work to do, always just trying to help push him along. He's like a surrogate father character. And Punpun visits him when he's like gets injured, and he's just a cool guy. And his design, he looks like a banana, so he's a cool guy. Landlord's daughter. This character is a shrill of a woman. She is just rancid, but Punpun does seem to have a positive effect on her, and she kind of mellows out a little bit. So, and also, I can understand where she's coming from, because her dad is like squandering his money and like being realistic, and you don't know how much money he has, so like she needs to kind of be that like bitchy character to like keep him in line, to not like give away everything that they have. And the dad kind of comes off as like almost like maybe early stages of fucking Alzheimer's or dementia or some shit, I don't know. So I would say, I mean, she's definitely higher than that fucking guy. So I put her at A tier. I actually like her. I know that's going to be controversial because people don't like bitchy women. I have no problem with women who are bitchy. I'm not a sexist pig. In fact, I like when a woman actually gives a shit about something and isn't a fucking wallflower or a moe blob like most people like. So yeah. And let's see here. We got the God character. This character is... I mean, it's not a character. This is just Punpun's inner thoughts. Punpun's inner thoughts are wildly inconsistent and unreliable, and like he doesn't actually even act on them. So I really struggled to put him at A tier or even like maybe a high B. I feel like maybe he could be high B, because in the end you don't really get anything more from what he's telling you. And he just is like it's like, this is like the mangaka shitting on the audience at all times. And that's kind of funny. Actually, you know what? I think he's D tier. He's just fucking. He's just the mangaka who's like baiting you into thinking that there's more to the plot when there really isn't. Okay, Sachi. Sachi's fucking S tier. Sachi's hyper S tier. Sachi might be like air quotes fake, you know, with all the things that she's done to change her appearance and be a different person. But Sachi at the end of the day is somebody who has drive. She can accomplish things, and she tries to improve Punpun, and she tries to bring Punpun along. And then in the final, in like the next to last or near the end of the manga, she establishes herself as the mommy dami GF for Punpun. Like, that's what Punpun's dad says. Punpun's dad's like, you know what, you need to be a mommy. No, that's Yuichi says that. Punpun's uncle tells Sachi that you need to be a mommy dami GF to Punpun, because he has all sorts of issues, but he doesn't like his dad, but he needs to be dominated by a strong woman, and that's why Midori raped him. He doesn't go that far. He doesn't say that. But Sachi's absolutely S tier. Anyone who puts Sachi anywhere lower than S tier is a fucking idiot. They didn't read the story. They're a fucking loser. They just don't. Their opinion sucks ass. And Punpun, where does Punpun go in his own story? I mean, he's definitely not S tier. He's fucking stupid as hell. He might, honestly, he's probably just right above his mom. His mom is actually more interesting in the story, and also probably more impactful. Punpun just does things as people tell him to. I would almost actually put him at B tier. He's really fucking dumb. He just doesn't communicate well. Like, when he's talking, when he's reflecting, when Punpun reflects, not down there. I can't take him off. We'll put him at B tier for now. When Punpun is reflecting in the manga, it doesn't seem like his reflections actually come from a place of like an actual character. And the problem is that Punpun has so many aspects of depression and psychosis that it doesn't feel like you really get a sense of Punpun's actual beliefs, because he doesn't. And that's fine if you're going to write a story about a character who is suffering from some kind of like, you know, psychotic break or psychotic delusions or like mental health problems. That's fine. But the problem is that in order for that to come off well in fiction, you have to generally be quite consistent with that. But the problem is that there's a high degree of inconsistency with the psychotic features that Punpun has, to the point where it just feels like the author was doing them for the sake of having interesting artistic expression of ideas, but not actually contributing thematically to the mental health aspect or the mental illness aspect in the manga. So, man, I don't know. Does Punpun do anything cool other than like trying to rape girls? Which is not cool, by the way. I didn't mean that. That did not come out right. I can't think of any. Punpun is just a loser. I mean, we find out after Sachi goes around and talks to a bunch of people that Punpun has been doing some things behind the scenes. But Punpun is just superficially motivated. He has no like personal drive or ambition, and he's hung up on one character that he broke a promise to when he was a fucking toddler, or when he was in fucking elementary school. Like, who does that? Who is that stupid? Like, yeah, Punpun I'd say is B tier. I mean, he's higher than these characters, but he's definitely B tier. He's just fucking stupid. He's too dumb for his own good, and somehow he's able to like squeak by and like fuck all these girls, and then just like he just doesn't understand himself. He's never made an attempt to, which is really dumb, because like the other characters, like the reason Aiko and Sachi are S tier is Sachi understands herself and she goes on a journey to understand herself better. Aiko understands herself. Her motivation for running away from home is because she wanted to take care of her mom, because she believed her mom had a hard life and that her mom doesn't have her legs don't work anymore. But her mom is also really abusive, and she just doesn't think that she can live in that environment and then just kind of like let life pass her by and then just like kind of fade into the background of just this person who is solely living for another, especially when that other person is abusive. Like, so she has her own arc and she explains that to Punpun. But Punpun's arc is just like him getting over the hill to kill himself. Like, all of Punpun's like arc baits are just him getting close enough to commit suicide. That's like what his whole life story is. And that's kind of like what dealing with depression is. But the problem is that the manga doesn't, the manga is just not written well enough to like display what's happening with Punpun in a way that like you can read and get it. Like there's just, the problem is like you have to, like if you ever see any Punpun reviews, Goodnight Punpun reviews on YouTube, they're all going to be heavily selected and edited for certain dialogue bubbles. And the reason is because the manga is told so fucking poorly. Like you'll have parts where like you're having a really important conversation, and then half of the page, half of those panels in that page are going to be other characters entirely that you don't care about. Like when Punpun and Aiko were having a conversation about like running away and that kind of shit, and do you love me and stuff, like there's other characters who are taking up half the page talking about inane bullshit. I mean, I know what they're talking about. They're setting up the Sachi's waiting for the abortion to go get a ride thing, but like you could have just done that differently. Like don't interrupt a very important conversation with shit that is less interesting. Why? Because I don't fucking care. Like have one thing and then have another thing, or you need to have those two things be as equally important, or you need to be doing something. But the problem is the manga constantly interrupts more interesting things to have less interesting things also on the same page that aren't fucking interesting. I'm not going to read them. You put something that I actually care about in these panels, and then you put something I just don't give a fuck about. I'm not going to read about Sachi or I mean Seki. I don't care about him. Seki's fucking dog shit. So like the problem with Punpun's characterization is that it's constantly interrupted by all this other shit going on, and or the moments where Punpun's kind of like getting somewhere just ends. It just, Punpun's characterization is like somebody tried to do an adaptation of Taxi Driver and Travis Bickle or whatever his name is. They tried to do that, but they didn't quite understand it, and they didn't understand that a lot of his characterization comes from editing, comes from the music, comes from the characters' internal monologue. But the problem with Punpun is that he has like 3 tracks of internal monologue, one of them being God, one of them being his own dialogue internally, one of them being thoughts that were told second person about. And the problem is like when you have 3 different tracks of getting information from a character, it makes it hard to parse which one is like really, like what is Punpun really feeling. Like we're always told, like we'll be told like a quote like, oh boy, I hate fish, and then it'll end be like, and that's what Punpun was thinking. And it's like, if that's what he was thinking, why didn't we just see the thing that he said? Why do we have to be told what he said? Like it's very strange. Punpun is like enigmatically written, but not to the manga's benefit, just to its detriment, because it's just wildly inconsistent. Like the author just was like, oh, he'll just have this, he feels this today, he feels that, and it makes sense. You want to know why? If you don't know, Goodnight Punpun is just a self-insert character for the author to deal with his mental health issues. That's what the manga was about. So the reason Punpun's so wildly inconsistent is because the author is just writing himself in there to deal with his own issues of being a horny pervert rapist. The big spoiler, sorry, but that's Inuya Asano for you. Quality writing. Thanks for making your diary into a manga, jackass. Anyway, here's the absolute correct tier list. Sachi S tier, Aiko S tier for the come inside memes, but otherwise pretty dumb. And Twin Tails, yeah. Anyway, blow me if you disagree.